40 years of developing hockey players from youth to the pros, Minnesota Hockey Camps has a player development program for you. Located in Breezy Point, Minnesota, our professionally coached on-ice development sessions, off-ice speed training, weight room sessions, stick handling sessions, shooting skill sessions are the right program for you. MHC takes great pride in its tradition with developing NHL players like Chris Stewart, Ryan Bugsy Malone, Scotty Hartnell, and TJ Oshie. Our dedicated staff is ready for you. Come check us out at MinnesotaHockeyCamps.com. Sign up for your chance to become the player you've always wanted to be. Hashtag who will be next.
Cold showers, leaking pipes, furnace giving you the chills? Look no further. At Iron Range Plumbing and Heating, we've got you covered. From expert plumbing solutions to HVAC magic and all sheet metal work, we are your one-stop shop for comfort and reliability. Professional service from a team that cares. Say goodbye to household woes and hello to peace of mind. Call Iron Range Plumbing and Heating today and feel the difference.
At Grand Rapids Chevrolet GMC in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, we have the trucks. Over 47 new Silverados and Sierras sitting currently on the lot with more to come. We have all the options: LT, RST, LTZ, High Countries, ZR2s. We have heavy duties. We have Sierra, SLT, Elevations, Denali's. We are equipped for the truck you are looking for. With great rebates currently, with up to $12,500 off on select models, now would be a great time to take advantage of savings and get yourself into a new truck today. Grand Rapids GM in Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
Welcome, everybody, to the Tea with Ms McGill show presented by Aero Auto Glass and Supply. Aero Auto provides home services like installing or repairing your windows. Yes, windows. So you put a puck through the window, Aero Auto Glass is your supplier. Of course, those beautiful glass doors, again, a puck goes through. You might want to give them a call. And those elegant glass shower doors, make sure a puck doesn't go through one of those. Aero Auto offers commercial glass doors if you've got a business. They install them and repair them. And of course, Aero Auto is your local source for windshield repairs and replacement with same-day services available. All of their work is warranted and they accept all insurance companies for your convenience. If it's flat glass, call Aero Auto, downtown Virginia and downtown Hibbing. All right. It is Pooka speaking. The star of the show, Coach Reed Larson, is not with us today. We have a very special guest I'm going to get to in just a second here. Episode 132. But before we dive in, just a few more subs over the last couple of weeks. Rich Pyle, Kurt Reppy, Sheila Balavance, Louis Joe Gabardi, hello Joe, Kyle Carlson, and Heidi Alquist. So, but just like these fine folks, and subscribe to America's fastest hockey broadcast today. All right, as you know, we move into our interview format now that we're in the off season, and we are lucky to have Chisholm's own Ryan Aho, former hockey player, former racer, current podcaster, host one of Goat Sports' other shows, the One to Go Show. Welcome, Ryan. Nice to have you. Looking good.
Absolutely. Glad to be on here. I laughed. I was laughing when you're doing that ad read right there, talking about you don't want the puck going through the glass, right? And that reminds me of when I was a little kid a long time ago, downstairs parents' basement, right? Me and my sister playing hockey in the house, shooting pucks, tennis balls, breaking windows. I mean, that happened, right? Outside in the yard, broke windows in cars. I mean, that was, if you played hockey, if you played outside, that was just going to happen. And I remember Pooka dressing up my sister in like as much padding as we possibly could, and we'd be taking slap shots in the basement. I had her in a walk-in closet, and she was goalie. She was like Goldberg, the goalie, sitting there like, "Stop!" I'm like, "You're the goalie. You're doing a good job." She was so pissed. Oh, was she?
I think me and my brother Steve might have done that to our younger brother too, Nick. Yeah, poor Nick. He was the goalie a lot, especially boot hockey. Those frozen tennis balls flying at his head.
Right.
Yeah, so we're going to get into it with Ryan today. Like I said, he's got a hockey background. He's got some racing background. We got a lot of stories to tell. He knows a lot of the characters that kind of listen to the show. But before we dive in, let me get a quick ad read in here for the Ring Sports Bar and Grill. Just on for the Hockey Hall of Fame over in Eveleth. Breakfast on the weekends, lunch, dinner, daily specials that include Monday Burger Night, Taco Tuesday, Wing Wednesday, The legendary Quad Cities fish fry on Friday, and of course, prime rib on Saturdays. The Ring Sports Bar and Grill, give give Michelle a call, 248-8582. And like I said, just down from the Hockey Hall of Fame over there in Evelyn. So why don't we start out? So how did you get started in hockey? I know your dad was my youth coach when you were, I think, like, mites or whatever it was, but how'd you get the itch? How'd you get started? I don't think we've ever even talked about this. And we've known
You
each
know
other
what's
for
crazy, right? Is Chisholm, right? Of all places, Chisholm has always been a basketball town, right? We had Coach Bob McDonald, absolutely legendary. God rest his soul. I think you probably had him as a teacher as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we were all just too much loudmouths, too much troublemakers. We were in the racing realm, and he was that straight arrow, Ed Gennaro type coach, right? So it's like, I don't think I'll probably get benched if I play. Well, I wasn't good enough to play all the time in hockey. I got benched there too, right? But the fact of the matter is, um, you know, in 1980, U.S. Olympics, gold, right? And basically I was born in 1974. So that was around that time, 6 years old. That's when people are getting into hockey. And I think there was a big insurgence in Minnesota in general, especially northern Minnesota, when the U.S. Olympic team knocked off the Russians, went on to win gold, that everybody, all the parents were so jacked up about hockey. I think that got a whole lot of people into hockey at that time. And I think that had a big part of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that probably was a huge surge. Now, your age group, you happen to fall into one of the most successful age groups that probably have ever, come out of Chisholm hockey. We'll go through some of the characters here in a minute. But you played, so when you were in high school with that group, you played with the three leading scorers in the state, in Chad Vukic, John Garver, Jamie Janicek. What do you remember about that season? What do you remember about those three, and not just in high school, but kind of going through the ranks with those guys?
Well, let's not forget we had some stud defensemen too, right? We had your brother Pogie, we had Chris Anderson, we had Skaya, which we'll probably talk about him in just a little bit here, right? But we had a power line there, and I think you only remember what happened last, and we had a big lead. I think couple goal lead against Greenway to go to state my senior year, and they decided to just put that power line all together and play them. I think essentially the entire third period, ran them out of gas, and they were good. I mean, we didn't have quite the depth that we needed. We had a big group of seniors. But, you look at that group, one of my biggest memories, you talk about Vukic, Janicek. I think Vukic took the draw back to Jamie. We knocked off Hibbing. So for all you Hibbing people listening, it's Hibbing Chisholm. It's not. It's Chisholm Hibbing, okay?
It's Chisholm Hibbing.
I'm just going to be completely honest. When I was in high school, we didn't lose to Hibbing. It just didn't happen, right? And the fact of the matter is, that was our state high school hockey championship right there. I mean, I don't know if you were probably there.
I was there. Yeah, I was.
They were coming over the glass. The place went absolutely bonkers because we won that with just a few seconds to go, and that was a pretty incredible day. But we had a really good group of players there. We played all the way through, and it wasn't we just played hockey. We were doing other things together, and going to rec, going to the races, and playing hockey in Garver's in his alley, and
the boot hockey at Garver's.
Boot hockey at Garver's. So I think there was just such camaraderie and just such a culture there within that group. And, we won a lot of hockey games, all the way through squirts, ice mites, squirts, peewees, bantams, all the way up. And we did well in high school, just didn't quite get over the top and get down to the state tournament.
Yeah, you talk about that. It reminds me, and it's changed so much. You haven't been in the hockey culture, but these tournaments now they're leaving Thursday night, they're leaving early Friday morning, and they're playing 4 and 5 games. But in our years, you went to a tournament, you played 3 games, right? You whatever. You played at 10 in the morning, you got back to the hotel, the crock pots came out, you went down to the pool area, all the parents were there, the brothers and sisters, it was like everybody knew everybody, right? It was one big family. And although they spend a lot of time together, I think you could still call it a big family. It's just in a different way. They're actually spending their time with their cold butts on the bleachers in the arena versus what we got to do, which was, like I said, play at 10 a.m., screw around the rest of the day. Those were the days. Remember throwing the dads in the pool?
Stop. Cold butts in the bleachers? Stop, okay? This is dating us both a little bit here. We're old, right? it's the,
Yeah.
everybody always says, I remember our parents saying, oh, it was a lot colder when I was a kid. We walked all the way to town, uphill both ways through a foot of snow. Pooka, we played hockey outside, right? We played games
Yeah. Yeah.
outside all the way up through probably through Pee-wees, right?
Yeah.
I remember going to Cook and even playing outside in Chisholm and all these. I remember Cook was the worst. Holy balls, was that place cold? Oh my
Yeah, the
God.
wind just came. The wind found Cook no matter what day it was.
So tournaments are massively different because back then youth hockey, you were absolutely frozen. How we decided to continue to play that game, when you go to the practices over at the Vaughn, or you'd be up at Cook playing hockey outside and just absolutely frozen, like
Yeah.
literally to you couldn't feel your fingers, your toes. I mean, it was unbelievable, and we're like, oh man, this is great. It's like, what? Now I'm
Yeah.
old. I'm like, that sounds like the dumbest thing on planet Earth. I want to sit in a warm building. I don't want to sit outside in the freezing cold. So,
The
yeah,
poor
it's been,
parents standing on a snowbank on the side of the rink, no glass, no even Buell. Remember Buell? Buell's the same thing.
yes.
Buell. Yeah, I think my last year at Pee Wee's, I had two Maha games, one outdoors in Mountain Iron, and my last outdoor game, I believe, was up in Aurora, which was kind of nice because they had that down in a hole. So the wind wasn't as bad, but I believe so that would have been what, 89. That would have been my last Pee Wee game outside was but yeah, we didn't, and remember at the time never thought anything of it,
No, and I
right?
think that's why Warroad's so good because I'm pretty sure they have outside ice year round up there in Warroad.
Oh, they're skating up. I mean, just steady. Yeah, it's nonstop.
Outside Puka,
Yeah, yeah,
outside
it's
ice year
nonstop.
round. It's freaking cold up there in the Northland. I can tell you that.
Well, we just mentioned Garv. So John Garver, like, and John, as a matter of fact, we've had Garv on the show. Our one of our top two, maybe three, but I think top two episodes of all time. A guy that's really never left the game, right? Played high school, played juniors, played college. He's been broadcasting for years down at UWS. Any Garv stories?
Well, I mean, Garv was our boy, right? I remember him and Ted. They'd always go to the races in Hibbing, and I'd sit with my mom. We had our group, and just over my right shoulder, maybe 5, 6 rows up, there's Ted Garver and his son John. That of course, we played hockey with, and so I mean, we've been going to the races together for years. Always, many, many, many games in his alley. Boot hockey in the alley at Garver's was a big, big deal. A lot of us were over there, but he was also a huge race fan. And it's kind of like the movie Slapshot. They brought their fucking toys with them, right? Like that in Slapshot. Me and Garver playing Matchbox cars all the time, pretending we're at the Hibbing Raceway, right? And we literally, we'd be at his house, he'd come to my house, and we had the whole track set up and laid out. And me and him would alternate, like doing the announcing, like Freddie Fran up in the booth at the Hibbing Raceway. I went on to do a little bit of announcing in the racing world, but of course Garver then went on to be the broadcaster up at UWS. So he kind of knew that niche was there from the beginning, but boy, he was a good player, good goal scorer, good with the puck, and he was he was that beast, right? It was hard to take him down. He's a guy that would crash the net, and he just kind of had that he was so solid on his skates that he could get to the net every time. But yeah, Garver, he's still around. I mean, I got to get out maybe play around the golf with him. He'd be a hell of a lot better than me at that too, I'm sure.
Yeah, get down into Maggie. He probably is a member there. Let me sneak in a quick ad read here. Aspire Heating and Control, your local Bryant dealer. And Bryant is the official heating and cooling company of your Minnesota Wild. Aspire specializes in gas, electric, and hydronic heating and cooling systems for existing and new construction. Residential and commercial installations available. Service include forced air systems, boilers, heat pumps, and mini splits. They're, of course, licensed and bonded. Air conditioning season is going to be coming here soon. So if you need a tune-up or you're looking for a unit, give Justin a call with Aspire Heating and Control.
Why didn't you call him Michelle? You called Michelle Justin. I'm just saying. We.
You got that. I was getting ahead of myself. All right, so you mentioned another teammate, Todd Skaya. So, still real involved in the hockey world and this repping and stuff. So any Skaya stories?
Oh, he's still a troublemaker, right? Skya fits right in with the racing community and with the hockey community, because if you think back in the day, right? And I don't think it's quite like this anymore. My buddy Changa, his kid plays for Superior. He's gonna be in he's second year Bantams coming up this year, and he was first year Bantams this year. He said if you get rowdy in the crowd, they'll actually escort you out. You'll get in trouble. Like they don't tolerate all that nonsense. And I remember as we were growing up, I mean, parents in the crowd are heckling and yelling at the refs and just chirping all the time, chirping the players, chirping the goalie, right? All the time. It was nonstop. Racing, the same thing, right? In the racing world back in the day, the fan bases were so extremely passionate. I mean, the driver that they didn't like come out on the track and they're flipping them off and cheering when they crash. And I mean, just literally brawls in the grandstands. I mean, just bonkers. Skaya fits in, right? Skaya fits into that 100% because he's, if there was a person on our team that was the biggest chirper, it was always Todd. Todd. He's always that chirper, right? Well, now in the racing world, he still is. So all you hockey parents out there, when Todd's out there on the ice, right, and he makes a bad call, you let him know. Okay, let him know. Get on his case. Let him know that he messed up. Hammer on him because he was that guy. He still is that guy in the racing world. So we're trained not to like refs, right? I get it. He was a Chisholm alumni with me. Both graduated '92. Both played for the Blue Streaks, but the fact is, you got to give him some shit. That's what you got to do. You got to hammer on the guy. We're not supposed to like refs. Okay, it's just you're not supposed to like refs. So every single time that he messes up, I challenge you, let him know about it. Be loud, be proud, get in his grill, let him know he gets off the ice, get in his face, tell him that he messed up, tell him that he's three blind mice out there. That's what you got to do. Because in the racing world, he's been pretty vocal, right? There's some drama going on in the racing world a little bit. And he's front and center in that deal. He's kind of in some people's grills a little bit, and that's just kind of the Todd we know, right?
That's it.
And
100% the Todd
you
we know.
I remember Todd's loft pass. He was the guy who'd get the puck in our defensive end. And you remember, Chisholm had still a low ceiling, really low ceiling in Chisholm. And he liked that loft pass, and he tried to loft it up over the top of everybody, get it to fall down, usually to Garver, try to get him on a breakaway to go in. Didn't always work in Chisholm because he'd bounce it off the ceiling or whatever. But he was the king of the loft pass back in high school.
Well, you're right though. I haven't thought about that. Yeah, I don't think I ever remember a parent getting kicked out in our years. But it seems pretty routine. As a matter of fact, in Grand Rapids this year, a parent, teenage refs like 13, 14, I think it was a Cole K parent, followed the kids into the ref and started giving it to him. So I think he's got a lifetime ban now at the Grand Rapids Arena because I mean these are
Really?
teenagers. Yeah. I mean they're teenagers. Hey, teenagers gonna make a mistake, right? I mean that's why they start when they're teenagers, so they don't make mistakes when And yeah, some crazy parent. Yeah, that was this year. I believe it was like in January. Could have been last year, but I think it was. So,
Do
but yeah,
you
like
remember when Skya? Now I don't remember who we were playing, but I think Derek Nelson was their goalie, and I think he had a shutout going, and the puck got out in the right in front in the crease, right in our defensive end, and he went to dump it back in the corner, and he put it right in the upper corner. I think he ruined Derek Nelson's shutout, scored on him. I think that was maybe our junior year. He just turned around and maybe it must have been our senior because I think Sean Oles was our goalie
yeah.
as a junior, so it must have been our senior year. He literally turned around and put it right in the upper corner in the middle of the game. We're like, oh my god, right? So got to chirp on him for sure.
Yeah, well, that you see a couple of those. As a matter of fact, yesterday in that Wild game, I thought when Boldy scored, I actually thought one of the replays it looked like the Dallas player put it in, but it wasn't on the replay because he Boldy had done it. But when I first saw that, oh my God, this guy, you just feel for him, right? Because it can happen to anybody. But then, like I said, on the replay, you could see where Boldy tapped it in. In the pre-chat, we were kind of talking about hockey, racing, and just the combination of that a little bit, where the hating losing. You want to make some comments on that?
Oh, I mean, let's just be honest. Some people are just happy to be there. Hey, I just like. They always teach you. It don't matter if you win or lose. It's how you play the game. No, that's bullshit. It's about winning, right? I mean, this losing stuff is nonsense. And we had a good run, right? We won a lot of tournaments throughout, youth hockey and all the way up. Get to high school, junior year, that was the last year. No disrespect to all you hockey people out there, but it was the last year of the real state tournament. Okay, the 8-team state tournament, right? And Grand Rapids heavy favorites at the time. They've always had a really good team, and lo and behold, we go to double overtime in that deal in the semifinals. I think they went on to beat Virginia to go to state, Man, that one stung. I think Vukic rang it off the pipe in overtime in a kind of a wide open net and just banged it off the pipe, and that one stung, right? But it did not sting as bad as the next year, and we were pretty much favorites, and it was tier one, tier two is what it was, and we ended up going to the finals against Greenway. And if I remember correctly, I think we had a 3-1 lead at one point in that game, and we go on to lose that game against Greenway, and everybody was kind of assuming we were going to be going down to state, but that one really really stung. So I've been bitter about that, and I think I probably should get over that. I mean, it was 1992, right? I mean, we're looking at 34 years here. Might want to let that one go, but it kind of stings a little bit. But the fact is, you get into racing, it's the same thing, right? I mean, I raced for about 25 years. I won a bunch of national championships, had a good run, but you really think about the times where you almost won, right? I go back to 2001. I lose by 1 point for the national title to Don Ishins. I was supposed to start on the front row of the last race of the year at Superior, and it snowed out. We didn't get the race in. Ishins didn't make the feature, right? So I'm sitting there going, I'm going to win this deal tomorrow, lock up a national title on the final night. And, so losing just sucks, right? And I think back to Hibbing, because this was a big deal. Hibbing Chisholm down the state tournament this year. And, I got a question for you on this because they lose that game and they come back. I mean, it was an unbelievable game. I mean, they're down, they come back, they tie, they take the lead, right? And it's like, wow, they came back from the depths, and all of a sudden they lose the lead and they get tied up, go into overtime, and they lose a heartbreaker. Well, then they keep everybody on the ice, and this always pisses me off. I just don't understand it. And they're giving medals, and they're chucking them. A couple of them are chucking the medals or whatever, and one of them smashed his stick against the glass, and it broke the glass. Well, obviously, he didn't try to break the glass, right? He was just smashing it in frustration. And the internet goes bonkers. Oh, these damn kids are just a bunch of babies and entitled and blah blah blah. It's like, look, okay, if you don't have that kind of emotion, I don't want you on my team. I just don't.
Right.
I don't want you being like, oh man, it's okay, hey, congratulations to the other team. I get it. You're supposed to be a good sport, and they did. They went through the line and shook hands and all that. But I've always believed that when that at the end of that game, the losing team should go to the locker room immediately, shake hands, bam, go to the locker room. If they want to have them come back out for second place ceremony, give them 5-10 minutes to go in there, vent, get their frustration out, get their tears out, smash their lockers, bust their sticks, do whatever they got to do, because it hurts, right? I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, some of those players are going to go on maybe to play college or juniors or whatever. Some of those players are never going to play again, and when they know that that could be their last game as in hockey, something they've been doing their whole entire life, right? And they lose in that way. If they would have lost 5-1, no big deal. You just do your deal, you move on. But to lose, that up and down of emotion, to lose that way, you know, I I've been through that. I was through that in hockey. You go through that in racing. You go in that competitive side. There's a lot of emotion there, and I think when you look at it, the two most emotional, combative, competitive type sports in my eyes are hockey and racing. I think there's a lot of parallel there, a lot of emotion there. You see a lot of pissed off, screaming, brawls, you name it. I mean, you look at pro hockey. I mean, it's there fights come out, right? If there's a punch thrown in the NFL or baseball, people are suspended, and it's a whole big deal. And it's, oh my god, hockey is just part of the game. And I know they're kind of trying to get rid of it, but I think in my eyes, they play hurt, teeth knocked out, patch it up, we'll go back on the ice. I mean, hockey is just different. It's just different, right? And it just stung me a little bit when I saw so many people just chirping. They gotta act better, and they gotta do this, and they gotta teach their players to be more professional. We're talking about high school kids that
Right.
literally just lost the biggest game of their life, and for most of them, because they had a pile of seniors on that team, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
So it's the last time they're going to play together. And they won all the way up, and they kind of felt like they were the favorites going in, and to lose I completely side with the players on that, and I get it. It wasn't all the players that did that, right? But it was a few, and I don't have a problem with it, right? No different than Cole Swanson, right? He missed the opening game because didn't he flip off somebody? It wasn't he flipped off the crowd in Cloquet, right?
Okay, yeah, exactly. They were kind of giving it to him. I found out later that there was some social media stuff going around to him,
Yes,
directed at him the whole week up leading up. So
one hundred
they,
percent. Not only should he have flipped him off, he should have taken a slap shot into the crowd, right? I mean, like, fuck these people, right? I mean, that's the way I look at it. I mean, the fact of the matter is, this is an emotional game, right? And I get it. Cole Swanson maybe a little bit too much in the penalty box, right? I get
he,
it, right? Kind of reminded me of
he
your
rides the
brother a little
line. He's
bit
on
there.
the edge. He's on
Yeah,
the edge.
he's like Pogey there. Um, but the fact of the matter is, people are chirping social media. They're chirping him, and it's like, hey, we just won, pipe down, right? And flip them off, and it's like, take that. Well, back 25 years ago, nobody gave a crap. It was just part of it. It's like whatever, again, chirp back and forth. I mean, they're sitting there, they're chirping the goalie, chirping players, chirping that. That was just in the penalty box behind the bench. Now it's
Yeah,
social media. Now they get
yeah.
on
Wow,
social
that's
media and they're chirping on there, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he flipped them people off. Why are we so soft? What happened to this world, right? It is just boggling to me. Like, I guess I've always been the Iron Range mentality is you go out there and we play hard, and we're not soft, right? And now everybody's soft. You get in trouble for this, you get in trouble for that. You can't say this, you can't say that. If you're too passionate, you're a troublemaker. It just bothers me. And racing's the same thing. I mean, you go to racetracks now, Pooka, it's kind of like you were talking about hockey. If they get too aggressive and people are looking, it's like, I can't believe it, right? Tristan LaBarge's family, right? They're hockey people. Addison plays girls hockey there in Hibbing, and very passionate group of people. Very passionate group of people,
100%.
right? And people look at them like, I can't believe they're flipping that person off and cheering when they break. It's like that used to be everybody, right? That used to be everybody. You used to go to the races at the Hibbing Raceway on a Saturday night. You had the Kelly Lakers section. You had the East Range, Virginia Mountain
Yeah.
Iron,
Harry Hansen
Parkville.
people.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
that group of people, the Chisholm people. Then you had people coming over from Rapids, and I mean, it was straight up rivalries on the track, off the track, chirping back and forth. I mean, brawls in the grandstands and flipping people off, and I get it. It's like, oh man, we don't want our kids to grow up and see all that. Well, you want your kids to grow up and be a bunch of little Sallys? I mean, because that's what we're turning the world into, right? You toughen them up a little bit, and that's where you get them to a hockey game, you get them to a racetrack, and all of a sudden it's like, these people are different, right? These people are different. And now it's kind of conforming the other way. It's like, oh man, we can't be hurting people's feelings. And it's like, good grief. And so that's one thing
Well,
that racing and hockey was very similar on.
Well, Dale Earnhardt used to give the bumper, and I'll never forget, like the 80s and 90s. But I remember, you might remember that night race Bristol around 2000. He gave Terry Labonte the bump. He got the win, and they were booing, and it showed how much. I mean, he bumped somebody in 1982. The crowd stood up and loved him in Victory Lane. By the year 2000, they were booing him. And I remember that was that interview. So I didn't try to turn around. I just wanted to rattle his cage. The way he could say it with that mustache. And then back, the comments on the Hibbing. I had two there. Oh yeah. So there was something similar. So the double A game was Moorhead Minnetonka. Minnetonka was up. Moorhead comes back, beats them in overtime. Or I think it was double overtime, that one. And they kept them on the ice. And I know Goldsworthy, the coach, didn't go to the press for the interview after. I heard some kids refuse to put their medals on. So I'm wondering if with the high school league now for next year is just going to say second place. Because on top of that, the other comment I was going to say, watching the Frozen Four last weekend, in the quarterfinal or the semifinal rounds on that Thursday night, the losing team is right off the ice. You know what I mean? There's no, they're not out there. It's just get off the ice. So I'm wondering if the high school league is going to change things. What should be? I mean,
It should be.
you get your second place medal in the locker room.
Dude, I'm telling you what, nobody that loses a championship game wants to sit there and watch the other team get all their medals and awards for winning the championship. Zero people want to be part of that. Nobody. There's not one person on that losing team that has any interest in that. That was watching Greenway get their medals going on to the state tournament. Like, literally, we wanted to just go over and tomahawk chop every single one of their players and their coach in the throat, right? It's like this sucks, right? Like, we kind of hope their bus crashes on the way down. It's kind of, it's like, hell, screw these guys. We hate Greenway, right? It just is what it is, you know. And then they're like, well, they're representing Section 7. Are you going to cheer for them at the state tournament? Hell no. Absolutely not.
You
Why?
cheer for the
No,
Packers, right?
no, definitely not, right? I mean, it's like Hibbing people when Hermantown goes, we're going to cheer for Hermantown? No, you're not going to cheer for Hermantown. What are you talking about? Like, no, you don't. No, that's not part of it. And now there are a certain few people that are like, yeah, but they represent our section. They're our enemy. Okay,
Yeah.
we don't like them. We're not supposed to like them, and that's one thing. Racing's changing this way too, right? And don't get me wrong, I helped out like Jeff Tardy quite a bit, and we were kind of rivals, but for the most part, the people that you're competing against. When I was racing against Don Ishins for a national championship, I didn't like Don Ishins like at all. I didn't like him. Dave Moss, not a fan. I raced against him for national titles. We weren't friends. I wasn't going to hang out, park next to him, hang out, have a beer. No. I hope he crashes, right? I hope he gets a flat, hope his motor blows up, hope he rolls over, hope whatever. I didn't want to see him. Didn't want to, whatever. It's like, well, you broke. You hope he wins. No, I don't hope he wins. No, absolutely not. So that's the society we're getting to now, though, is like, well, them kids try hard too. Well, good for them. Still don't like them, right? I mean, the fact that Hibbing's biggest rival right now has to be probably Hermantown. Is that kind of the thing?
Yeah, I would say, or at least last few years, because Hermantown's still kind of, you still gotta, they're there, right? You gotta bump them. They're still kind of the more or less the favorite kind of coming in.
Right. So at the end of the day, they absolutely hate each other, and you're supposed to, right? People are like, yeah, but they're just kids. No. You teach kids to not like their rival. You can respect them, and then later on, you can look back, and then all of a sudden, hey, we can be buddies years later, right? But while you're playing, that soft mentality, it's like, no, I'm not gonna kumbaya this deal. This is a physical grinding sport, and racing is the same thing. You're not supposed to like the people you're competing against. That's just it doesn't make sense to me.
Right, exactly. So, and you kind of wanted to
Speaking of that, you're a freaking traitor, by the way. I'm just gonna go ahead. Yeah, you're a traitor.
I hear about it all the time. We'll get Sky. So Sky will put a couple comments in for that.
Yeah. You're a traitor. Probably. I'm just gonna be honest. Probably would have beat Greenway if you would have stuck around and went ahead. So I'd probably put that on you because you were one of the better players from Chisholm in your age group. Jackie Jacobson and who else?
Bill.
Yeah.
Petrol.
Petrol. Yeah, he went on. Didn't he play basketball the senior year or something?
He did. He ended up changing to basketball. Talk about an athlete. I play hockey your whole life and changed to basketball. God, it might have been his junior and senior year.
But it made sense for him because all you guys were quitters and left and went over to play with Hibbing, which was a bunch of nonsense.
And he's about 6'4", too.
Right, that also made a lot of sense.
That was not a normal. Today, that's a normal hockey player. Young kids are, he's 6'4". Not back in our day.
No.
What are they? Yeah, the movie
we had him and we had Botch. Botch was pretty tall too, right?
Yeah. It was pretty much. There was no tall, super.
But there
tall,
wasn't many. There wasn't many people in your age group, and definitely the year in between us, because you graduated what, 94?
4, yeah.
And in 93. There was only a couple. What was it? Renner,
Boyle, Johnny Sundquist.
Yeah.
There wasn't
like 3, 4, something like that. And there wasn't many in your age group either. And then the numbers just went down for whatever reason. 92. What do we have? Like 14 or 15 seniors on the team in 92. We had a bunch.
Both goalies were seniors. You were there, like you said. Skya, my brother, Anderson. We talked about the 3.
Schofield.
Schofield from Cook. Yeah, that was the Chisholm Cook days. As a matter of fact, he got the first goal. I was at that Greenway game. Yep. He scored the first goal.
He's a race fan too.
Yeah. Schofield comes around. I see him there. So.
Vukic, Garver, Janicic.
Yeah, I'm
sure. Jacobson.
Chad Jacobson. Jake Goik was on there. Yeah. So, I'm just trying to. Yeah, it's just been too long. It's been too long. Well, speaking of that,
we had a lot of seniors on that team.
Yeah, you were rolling into you pre-chat too about the following of both sports. You want to make some comments there?
Well, we talked about that. We've talked about this quite a bit, right? You watch the movies, you watch, any sports movie, right? Like Varsity Blues, and the whole town is following the team, to the games, and it's like the town closed down, right? It's like business closed. We're at a football game. Well, that's how hockey was forever. I mean, Hibbing, Chisholm, you name it. I mean, you go over to and I think Hibbing still had a pretty darn good. They had a lot of attendance, didn't they, at their games this year?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. This year was really great. Yeah, I mean, I
Right.
bet you they averaged 3,000. They were
Yeah,
really, yeah,
which is, I mean, because they were good. I mean, they were
yeah.
expecting to go to state, but the fact is, just the overall culture. I mean, and Hibbing was a little bit different. Hibbing still is a hockey town. It really is. But I mean, you go to a lot of these towns and they had hockey stuff everywhere and signs and you name it. And they were just passionate about their team winning and going to the state tournament and winning tournaments. And, everywhere you went in town, you go down to Choppy's Pizza and the hockey team got treated really good down there by Sandy Ciani, right? And so the fact of the matter is there was such a big following. It was like a big culture. It was like part of the community. And racing, kind of the same thing. They used to have weekly shows and in a kind of a crossover there. Weekly racing, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, go to the racetrack. They didn't, all your local drivers were racing their home track every single week. And now a lot of them home drivers, they're going to special events and they're traveling, 100 miles this way, 200 miles that way to go race for a little bit more money on a Saturday night rather than racing at home. Same thing with, Friday nights in Superior. They could be in Superior for weekly racing or they're going somewhere else. Well, what happens in racing is their local fan base isn't quite as passionate because they're not really local drivers anymore. They're traveling all the time. Well, in hockey, I want your thoughts on this. And it doesn't seem like maybe it was a thing back when we were, playing, but you look at, didn't Hermantown lose a bunch of their players to what, juniors or whatever? And Moorhead did a couple years ago. Wasn't like 3 or 4 of their top players didn't even play high school hockey. So you start looking at that. Is Tate Swanson, is he going to play high school next year or is he doing something different?
Well, he's a senior, but
Oh,
there's
Cole.
rumors of Cole possibly leaving. I haven't
Yeah,
seen or heard anything as of now, but there's rumors of some of those kids leaving. Rewerts,
right.
Swanson,
That
uh,
Rewerts kid's a stud. Hey,
Chuko.
he's
Yeah,
that Rewerts kid. He was impressive at the state tournament. He was fun to
yeah.
watch.
Congratulations to him. He was named the Duluth News Tribune Player of the Year last week as a sophomore.
Nice,
So congrats
nice,
to Whitaker. Yeah,
nice.
good kid.
Yeah, I don't know how he's related. Probably nephew of Weedy, right? Is that
Yeah, it's his Wheaties' cousin's son. Yep.
cousin's son? Okay, and that's a racing family. They've been around the racing
Right.
community forever, right? Gabardi and all them. But the fact of the matter is, you know, it seemed like high school hockey, and it still is in some areas. Like that was a passion. You grow up, you're playing squirts, peewees, bantams. And it's like your goal. I want to go to the state tournament because let's face it, the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament is the number one youth tournament of any kind in the whole country. I mean, it's some people might say, "Oh, Little League World Series." Okay, cool. It's not hockey. It's totally different. All right, fine. I'll give you baseball, but the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament is elite level, right? And you even hear, and you're plugged in more than me, obviously, but I mean, I saw little clips of people being interviewed, TJ Oshie, and that used to play in Minnesota. He was Warroad, right? And then he went to the
Yep.
pros, and they're talking. They're like, you don't understand how big the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament is, right?
Yep.
It's so big. But then all of a sudden, you have these players that are leaving high school to go play juniors and go play that, and it's like, and their team, right, their town has to be going, what the hell just happened? Like
Right.
we were expecting to make a run at the state tournament. Now our top 2, 3 players aren't even going to play high school hockey. I think that deal sucks. What's your thoughts?
Oh yeah, it's a changing landscape. So like Moorhead was supposed, I think, in the fall, in the fall of 2025, or before the season started, I think they had 4 that had left, but they all came back because they won the title last year. They said, let's do it again. And so they did come back. I was visiting with some Edina parents at Tom Reed's before one of their games, and they have 4 missing. Freddie Schneider, Carl Schneider's son. And if you remember Carl, you would have played against him. He would have been Hibbing. His son is at the in Ann Arbor at the development team, and that Mason West, the one that got all the attention, he won the Edina football as the quarterback and then left. So he's in Fargo. As a matter of fact, I just saw a clip on him. He scored an overtime winner for them a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know who the other ones, but yeah, that's definitely a thing, and I don't think it's getting better. I would say it's probably getting worse. I think there was a time where they were leaving, and then they started some spring stuff and some fall stuff to kind of keep the kids around to get them more time. And the periods are now 7. You had played in 15-minute periods to play 17-minute periods now. They added 3 or 4 regular season games to the schedule. This is about 20 years ago to make some adjustments to stop some of the bleeding because the elite kids were leaving. Well, now I was just talking with somebody about this the other day, and I think it's back. I think leaving is gaining momentum, unfortunately. But like you said, I mean, hey, well, look at Grand Rapids. We lost our best goalie. He's up in Canada. But like you said, I mean that hopefully going forward, that tournament is enough to keep them. Especially if you got a competitive team where you got a chance to get in, because it is, the spectacle in St. Paul is the spectacle. Is what it is. Like you said, there's nothing that compares to it in the country.
Well, I can't even imagine how many scouts are at the state tournament, right? Or if they're not there, they're watching online, but probably there, right? So is it that big of a difference for them to take that step to the next level, Division One hockey or whatever it may be? Are those developmental teams? Is it that big of a difference from like Hibbing High School hockey or Grand Rapids High School hockey? Is it that much noticeable difference to be able to move to that next level?
Well, that I would say yes, just because you play a lot more. Because when you go to that level, you're starting shortly after Labor Day, where a high school hockey season starts. You start captain's practice around MEA weekend, and of course you're playing older, better, older competition, better competition. So, and then they're still playing. You see the junior hockey, the playoffs had started. Now some teams have been eliminated, but the summer's still going. You play kind of close to an NHL schedule. It doesn't go quite as long. It starts about the same time. It doesn't go quite as long. So, I see the arguments of both, and I all in all, though, I mean, yeah, you'll have some elite players, but we have so many good players in Minnesota. I mean, Minneapolis, St. Paul's like one of the best hockey towns in the world. You got like Vancouver, and you got Toronto, and you've got Moscow, and you've got like the Twin Cities is one of them. So they will continue to kick out great players. So, like I said, the tournament I thought was great this year. There were probably a dozen elite players that were missing. Maybe there's a dozen that'll even get drafted this year that weren't there. I don't know. There could be. There's at least a half dozen that are going to get drafted that are missing. But it was still a great tournament. Like I said, double overtime for the double A, overtime in the single A. So thank God we've kind of got the depth, I think, in the state to still make it entertaining. But it does, yeah, it does stink seeing those kids leave.
Are numbers declining? Right, I know in the racing world, because racing is so expensive. Now there are some grassroots classes, right? That if a person wants to get into the sport, you have the Hornet class, right? That is front wheel drive. That's pretty economical, and Hibbing is actually bringing in a Crown Vics class, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a grassroots deal. You're looking at 3-4 grand. You can actually get into a rear wheel drive, car, go race and have a hell of a good time. But you look at some of these other classes, modifieds, late models, you're looking at 70, 80, $100,000 for a race car. And people are like, I make 60 grand a year or 70 grand a year. How the hell am I going to, it's not mathing here. That ain't quite working. While hockey, let's face it, most expensive sport out there, you got all that equipment that you have to have and tournaments and so on.
Oh, yeah.
Are the numbers declining in hockey?
That I don't know in the U.S. on the youth level. I know in Canada they're complaining about it. Canada's getting a little too expensive. They are losing kids. And I did have a conversation with an athletic director this past winter that said there's 2 sports at the high school level on the girls' side that are declining. Girls basketball, which surprised me, but also girls hockey, which didn't surprise me because, like everything you said, the expense in getting kids involved. Girls wrestling is the fastest growing girls sport, which is interesting. And I've seen more and more of that. As a matter of fact, I think the Blue Jackets sent a female wrestler down this year. But yeah, I can't answer that question. I don't know, but like I said, it is. I mean, it's the sticks these kids want to use once they're old enough to know 10, 11, 12, they're $300. And I still use the $100 sticks from my men's league, seem to work fine. I couldn't score then, I can't score now, so it's a push, it's a wash. So and like I said, yeah, the skate, everything, the travel, like I said, a lot of these tournaments now, you get that Pee Wee Bantam level. You're not leaving Friday after school. You're leaving Thursday after school. So you're staying Thursday, staying Friday, staying Saturday. You're not playing 3 games, playing 5 games. So that's more meals, more hotels, You know what I mean? So it is a thing, but like I said, it seems like, you know, the 16, 17, 18-year-olds that I'm kind of dialed into, everything seems healthy. I don't know what's going on at the 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old level.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah, Minnesota is the state of hockey. Now, maybe, just maybe, right? Maybe one of these years the Wild can actually like prove that, right? They look good in game one. There's a long, long ways to go, right? But man, oh man, it's I am sick and tired of them stupid ass Packer fans, right? Saying, "Oh yeah,
we know a few of them.
yeah, they're like, oh man, yeah, you're the state of hockey over there. No, they don't even have a hockey team. They're Wild fans too, right? And if they're over by Milwaukee, they're probably Blackhawk fans because
Blackhawk,
they're
they're pretty.
closer. But state of hockey, state of hockey, state of hockey, and no championships at the pro level, right? So
Well,
we need to get over the hump.
yeah, with the one of the interns threw a post out yesterday. They were asking me what I thought, and I said I don't think the Wild are going to do it. Well, of course, they put it out about this time yesterday. The Wild dominate yesterday. There's a lot of comments what a dummy Pooka is, but I think I'm sticking to my guns. I still think over the long series. Unfortunately, well, like I said, it's not even the Wild's fault. It's the NHL's fault for the goofy way they set this playoff deal up. And with the staying in the divisions and just I mean they should not be playing Dallas. They should be
No,
playing Anaheim or somebody or
right.
So anyhow, but like I said, I just
And
think
we know how bad you were at the pick'ems, like in our racing pool, right? So you just go ahead and keep on cheering against the Wild and saying they're going to lose and they're
and
not
then
going anywhere, and just maybe that'll help.
it'll do the opposite, exactly. Well, us move on to some racing in your racing career here. But before we do, a quick word from Fortune Bay Resort and Casino on beautiful Lake Vermilion. The Walleye Opener is coming up in just a few weeks. You're going to want to wet the line. Fortune Bay offers 172 rooms and a smoke-free resort, indoor pool, full-service marina, RV park, world-class golf, and several dining options. A bar and all of the gaming you can handle. Visit fortunebay.com for more. And plan your trip right now. Also, get up to date on their current promos through their Facebook page. So, Fortune Bay Resort and Casino, thank you very much. So, you talked a little bit about winning a lot of races, winning points champion, winning national championships. So, just to kind of keep the time going, how many national titles? Well, no, yeah, how many national titles?
I got 7, 5 WISSOTA national titles, 2 DTRA national titles,
Okay, so 7 national titles. This guy. How many points championships?
25 track
Or
championships,
track
and
championships, you call it
yeah,
that way. Track.
25 track championships, and I think I got 4 or 5 Minnesota state championships, and then the Natties on top of that.
Okay, and then wins.
Just shy of 300. Just shy of 300. Yep.
Well, we better get you. Hey,
Right.
we
I
got to
have
find
people
you a
saying,
ride. Let's get there.
yeah, we got a big Jeff Tardy memorial race coming up here, and that people are like, hey, you need to get a car for that. I'm helping promote the deal, right? So never say never, but man, oh man, I do like having a comma in the checkbook, right? That's part of the reason I'm not racing right now. But if the stars aligned, I won the lottery, or if somebody that had a whole pile of money said, hey, we want to get you behind the wheel again, I probably wouldn't say no to that. But man, I don't know. I need a handful more to get to 300.
Well, we got to find a way because yesterday I was listening to an interview with Mike Madonna. You remember Mike Madonna? So he retired a few years ago. He's at 1,499 wins. He had an a-hole of a coach that scratched him the last game, so he wouldn't get to 1,500. Yeah,
Really?
healthy scratched him. Yes, yes. So although 1,499 is kind of more memorable, I think in a lot of ways, like I'll probably never forget that. But just listening to an interview with him, so you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be Mike Madonna. You want to have his
No.
money. You don't want to be him. We want to get you to 300. So we were talking about your high school. So you started racing at 16, right? Is that right? 15?
Well, 15, right? Because back then you had to be 16 to race, or if you turned 16 that year, you needed a waiver signed by your parents in order to race, right? So I was 15, and I remember John Gargano saying, "Hey, are you 16 yet? I'll not quite yet, but I'll get you that waiver." And I just kind of kept blowing them off, and finally they announced, "Hey, happy 16th birthday to Ryan Aho." Freddie Fran did. He's like, you told me you were 16 a month ago. I'm like, well, I'm 16 now, so it is what it is.
All
So
that matters.
so I started at 16, and now you got these kids out there starting at 12 years old, and we couldn't race at 12 years old. I mean, hell, most people back then couldn't even drive at 12 years old. We did because we lived in the country. Hell, I started driving cars at 8, right? Or 7 or 8 or whatever it was. But you live in these bigger cities, and nowadays people aren't even driving in some areas until they're just going for their permit, which is crazy to me, right? But yeah, I started at 15 years old back in 1990.
Yeah, and I remember that. I remember the hobbies. Sharing a ride, sharing a car, right? With Gary Tuitt, right? Is that
Gary
Gary,
Tewin
right?
from
Gary
Kelly
Tuitt.
Lake. Yeah, he
Yeah.
pitted for Pete Wallers there. Another
Yeah.
stud hockey player
Yeah.
from Hibbing back in the day, Kelly Laker. And Gary and I, we bought a car our first year. I think we both put $600 roughly into it, which that wouldn't even get you a car, even nothing nowadays, right? So $1,200 into our first car. I ran mostly Rapids. He ran mostly in Hibbing. And then the next year we each had our own car and went on from there.
Okay. Tell the audience real quick about your dad. Put many years into racing, and not just racing, but being involved in racing.
Yeah, I mean, and hockey too. He
Yeah,
coached us
and
at
I
the
yeah,
youth
said he was
at
my
the youth
coach. Yeah.
level. He was a coach out there in boots, though. He couldn't skate. You weren't going to get old Rudy on the ice. He was not going to be trying to skate out there, right? But back in, I mean, heavily, and that's how I got into racing. My dad raced for over 20 years, and he got a car. I think he got a car from his dad, or it was his dad's car, or whatever. Long story short, I think his dad got him a car, like a street car, and they brought it down to the neighbors and down the road, and they welded a roll cage in it, and they put it all together. Never told his dad, and they had gone to the races, and he said, "Hey, you need to go to the races Saturday. I'm racing." He's like, "What are you racing? And where's your car?" And back in the day, it was stock vehicles, so that's how he got started. But yeah, my dad. He got me into racing at an early age. You and I and Steve, we all went to the races with him for many years. Mostly Hibbing, Grand Rapids, but he traveled around a little bit for specials and stuff as well. And then he's had a lot of different roles, right? He was president at the track over in Hibbing. He was tech guy over there, which is kind of like a referee. So, I mean, I'll give him shit. I'll call him Senior Skya. Maybe I'll call him. That'll piss him off a little bit because Sky is the ref. My dad would be the tech guy back in the day. But yeah, he did quite a few things. He still helps the Grand Rapids Speedway with their sponsorship acquisitions over there. So he,
Yeah.
he helps with that aspect of things. So like hockey, racing is something the family kind of does together. And a lot of people say, "Oh, racing it kills families," right? Well, for us it didn't, because we'd go to the racetrack and the entire family, aunt, uncle, cousins, everybody that's where they would come. I still to this day have family members, right? My uncle being one of them, that if we have a family function, like my parents had their 50th wedding anniversary a couple years back, right? My uncle's like, I don't go to shit like that. No, I'm not going to that, right? Hey, happy anniversary. I'm not going to that. The very next year, it's like, hey, we got Hall of Fame induction over here at Hibbing. Yeah, I'll be there. Not even a question about it, right? So they converge at the racetrack. And, for us, that was a thing that we did together, right? And sometimes against their will, right? Getting my sister out there at 2 a.m. Hey, I need some help. I need you to come hold a couple things for me on the car. I'm trying to sleep, not my problem. We got to get the car done, right? And that's just the way it worked. Waking my dad up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I got an issue here with my engine. I need you to come look at this. He's like, what the hell's wrong? I got to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing? I'm like, I got a race tonight. And he'd be out in the shop, no questions asked. He'd get it done. We'd get to the racetrack. So, so many years of just bickering. I mean, if you know anything about racing, just yelling at each other in the shop about everything, because that's just kind of what you did. But at the end of the day, very tight, very passionate about racing, the family as a whole. And, when you look at it, that's, I think, something that people need nowadays. A lot of people they aren't passionate about anything anymore, right? Especially the youth. You look at it, it's like, what are they even excited about? What are they passionate about? And it's like nobody knows. They don't have that passion. So whether it's hockey, whether it's a different sport, whatever it is, racing is something that's, brought us together, gave us something to be passionate about, something to build with. And it's, I mean, to this day, it's still a part of my life. I'm not racing, but I'm heavily involved with the sport.
Well, yeah, you're heavily involved through the One to Go show, which, like I said at the top, is the other podcast that Go Sports presents. So, tell us a little bit about how's it going, and you got to be getting ready. I mean, it's April now. So the industry's going to start revving.
Yeah, that's going good. So I mean, it's kind of funny how we started. So I'm up in Grand Rapids, actually working with Bob Broking over there, Broking's Transport. Helping with some racing stuff over there because I was tied in with the racetrack and trying to lose these cheeks in my belly a little bit. I was over at the gym and all of a sudden in walks Pooka with all your energy. Hey ho! I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, holy shit, Pooka, what's going on? And you jump on the machine next to me and you're going a million miles an hour and I'm trying not to die and you're like, hey, we should do a podcast. I'm like a business one because we both kind of have a little bit of a business background as well. And you're like, no, we should do a racing podcast. I'm like, I don't know if anybody will listen, but I mean, I could talk racing an hour or so a week. I mean, hell, we can do that. And yeah, it's been good. What are we? We're just about to episode, really close to episode number 300,
300, I
right?
think. Yeah,
So
I think 298 this week. I think. Yeah,
yeah,
I think right. Yeah, I
yeah, I
think
think
yeah,
it's
really close.
299. I think it's 290,
Okay.
298.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 298 dropped, 299 coming up this week. So this week and then next week will be episode number 300. So hit that milestone will be cool. But yeah, the racing season's getting underway. Mother Nature not quite cooperating, right? Seasons have kind of shifted, but local racing is going to be starting in the area here real soon. Excited about that, right? And quite honestly, that's one thing when I watch state high school hockey tournament or watch Hibbing hockey, I'm like, all right, who do I know that's involved with racing here? That's kind of how I tie it together. But yeah, racing is right around the corner, and there's no kind of like hockey, right? There's not really an off season anymore. I talked to Changa, my right hand man. He pitted for me forever. He's co-host on the show. His kid plays hockey. Well, now he's on like a traveling team, right? Type of deal or whatever in the Bantams.
Awesome. Yeah.
There's really no off season, right? And in racing, there's no off season either. I mean, there's literally like a couple weeks off right around Christmas time, and bam, they're right back at it again. So I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent. I think in my mind, I feel like there needs to be a little bit of an off season to get people to miss it, so that way people are jacked up when it's coming back around. But the energy is just different. It's just a little bit different because you can watch racing 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, which
Yeah.
I don't think helps things in the grandstands.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. Right from the comfort of your home. Drink your own beer. Not get cold. I mean, how many cold nights do we spend? Like this time of year when we'd go down to Cedar Lake for the opener or something like that. It was cold. You're wearing your snowmobile suit, but we were excited to do it. Couldn't wait to get in the car to get there.
Well, Cedar Lake opener, that was always the first track down in New Richmond, Wisconsin, and right over by the Apple River down there, right? So you got to get down to that place. It's still the elite. It's still the top tier facility in our region by far. I mean, they do an awesome job. But we'd get down to the Cedar Lake opener early April, and the line of cars would be all the way out down the road, down the side road, and the grandstands would be absolutely jam packed. There couldn't have been, if there was 300-400 people total in the grandstands at their opener, that would have been maybe pushing it, and the car counts were not very good, which is concerning. And it just tells me they're getting too much of it, right? It's simply supply and demand. You kind of have to maybe not have as many shows, but make the shows more impactful. And I think that's something that I don't know if it'll happen. Racing's kind of trending in a weird direction right now. The special events, the big shows are still good, but when you get to the weekly racing, it's just changed. The landscape has changed quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, you've got a big event like you were talking about, co-promoting. A buddy of ours, unfortunately, gone way too soon, Jeff Tardy. You're putting an event together at the Hibbing Speedway, not the Hibbing race, the Hibbing Speedway. It'll be up on July 10th this summer, correct?
That's correct. And hey, hockey fans out there, we still love the kid, even though he was a basketball player, right? Chisholm alumni. He played for McDonald. He went to the state tournament, right, as a Chisholm Blue Streak. But yeah, Jeff Tardy, and then of course his dad, Lauren Tardy, both iconic in the racing community. Lauren Tardy was one of the best racers in our lifetime, growing up watching him race and just watching him drive. It was just awesome, right? He's one of my childhood heroes. And then as Jeff progressed into a racer, Jeff was kind of the cold trickle, right? If I said, Jeff, I need you to change oil or take an A-frame off, he'd look at you like you had three heads, had no idea what the hell you were talking about, but he could drive a car. And, when I was racing for all those championships, he was easily the probably the stiffest competition I had in our area. There was a lot of 67, 71A racing against each other. And what was funny, we talk about those passionate fan bases, right? Half the Tardy family would be chirping me and flipping me off and booing me, and John would be like, "Y'all need to shut the hell up," because he stopped at our house on the way to the track and aligned the front end, right? Like I'd be so I was helping them guys all along. I mean, the very first car they had, they worked on over at my dad's place, right? So, we've been friends for. I mean, I would say it's about as close to family as you can be without being blood related. So of course he passed 49 years old. Super sad deal, tragic, and a couple kids. And Friday, July 10th, the night of the city of Hibbing fireworks, actually, we're doing a big memorial race for him and his dad, and it is actually the biggest single day WISSOTA Superstock event in WISSOTA racing history, and it's
Awesome.
the second overall show, all time as far as payout goes, next to the 50th annual Red Clay Classic. And we have some really cool stuff. We're doing big payout, a lot of contingency awards, but there's a lot of fans and family and friends and businesses that are like, hey, I want to be part of this, right? So anybody, for every $100 that somebody contributes to the event, they're actually getting put in what's called the sponsor appreciation drawing. 26 names are going to get drawn out of that, and they're going to get matched up with the 26 drivers in the A main that night. And I was 67-67 to win for the driver that night. If you happen to be matched up with a driver, you're also leaving with 67-67.
That's
And
huge. That's
we're
awesome.
yeah, we're jacked about that. We're giving away Wild tickets. We're giving away Vikings tickets, Timberwolves, Twins, golf passes to Masabi Country Club, bunch of race tickets, and local businesses kicking in. So, I mean, we're going to have stuff going on. There's a big pre-race going on that night. We're going to have that. Duke Scorch Barbecue is going to be there. They're actually kicking in all the proceeds, by the way, from Duke Scorch Barbecue going directly to the race. Very cool deal that
Oh,
they're
wow.
doing.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to have a pre-race. We're going to have the race program, the fireworks, and just a great way to give them a final send-off. Super pumped about it.
Oh, that's awesome. Really good. So July 10th, Hibbing Speedway on a Friday. So that's a
On
key
a
because
Friday.
typically Hibbing races on Saturday. So it'll be a Friday night. So, and of course, we will see you there. We have talked to pre a little bit. Favorite hockey movies and favorite racing movies. You want to hit on that?
Well, should we do a snake draft here, you and me? Kind of let the listeners decide who had a better roster here for it, or should we just each say our top couple in each of them? What do you want to
Yeah,
do?
I just say like top couple because I'm ill prepared. I mean, I got a couple of each. That's
Well, I mean, I know what you're going to take in hockey because, I mean, hell, your tagline in your show kind of throws back.
that's
I feel like I should snipe you because it's good, but I won't, right? Miracle is a movie that I've probably watched 50 times, right? At least 50 times. So I would say Miracle is my number one go to as far as a hockey movie. All right, tell us yours.
Wow, yeah, Youngblood. That's the one. I just, yeah, I don't know how many times on the VH. Go to Central Video. Remember old Central Video?
Yes,
Every
yeah.
time I went to rent a real movie, it was so old. I think it was made in '86, so this is the early '90s. That was on like the dollar rack, or maybe it was only $1 to rent it. Maybe it was on the 50-cent rack. So went to get whatever movie you wanted, and then you just throw in Youngblood with it.
Youngblood's awesome. It's crazy how many people I know that are hockey fans, right? That have never seen Youngblood. It's like Patrick Swayze, right? Yeah, Keanu
Keanu
Reeves.
Reeves,
Yeah.
yeah, Rob Lowe,
Rob Lowe. I mean,
yeah.
that movie was absolutely. I mean, it was phenomenal, right? It was absolutely phenomenal. In fact, buddy of mine, what's the name of what is it called when you have the kids staying at your house? What is that called?
Well, it's billet families they
Yeah,
call
billet
it.
family. So our buddy, right, Josh Waltz from over in Watertown, the Watertown has a new,
The Shamrocks, yep.
yeah, the Shamrocks in town, and they decide they're going to be a billet family, right?
Oh,
And
really? Okay.
yeah, and he's got high school girl in the house and all that. I'm like,
Watch
Josh,
this movie.
Josh, why? Yeah, I'm like, I'm like, are you serious? Right? You got a teenage girl in the house. You're going to be a billet family? Are you out of your mind? I'm like, I don't want to have to go to jail for coming and killing somebody. Like, I don't really want to have to do that. That would be terrible. And he's like, oh no, it'll be fine. He watched the movie and he's like, oh God. He goes, the wife just shook her head. And so Yeah, that movie's a classic. And then how do we not love Slapshot, right? I mean,
Wow, sorry, yeah.
yeah, Slapshot. I mean, the original, right? I know there was a number two. There might have been a three, but if I had to rank my top three, that would be it, right? In no particular order, depends on the mood I'm in. But Miracle, Youngblood, Slapshot with Paul Newman, also a racer, by the way. He was a race car driver.
Really? Well, and
Yep.
you know the Hansons, actually the Carlson brothers from
Yep.
Virginia.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Absolutely. I
yeah,
mean, come on, Pooka. Of course I knew
I,
that.
I didn't. So what did Newman race?
He ran road racing. He did some road
Oh, really?
racing. Yeah.
Okay, I had no
Yep.
idea.
Yeah. How about racing movies?
Oh, well, Days of Thunder, Gold Trickle,
That's still number one, and the other one for me would have to be Six Pack, right? Because it's
Yeah.
got some dirt track racing ties. There's a lot of other movies in the racing realm, but they're okay. They're okay.
Yeah.
They're not great, right? My two favorites easily has to be Days of Thunder, Six Pack, and another one, Six Pack, right? A lot of youth, right? Because that's an old movie. Kenny Rogers in it, right? Dirt track racing. If you're a race fan, right? And I know this is a hockey podcast, but if you're young, if you're a race fan and you have not seen Six Pack, it's a must. Gonna have to watch it. There will be a test on it. You're gonna have to watch it.
And that's at what, the Dixie Speedway, isn't it?
Yeah,
Dixie,
Woodstock, Georgia. Yep.
Woodstock, Georgia, the Dixie Speedway. So the red and white wall, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the red and
Yes.
white wall. That's the one
They
that
still do a
makes
little
it.
bit of racing there. Not much anymore, but they do a little bit still.
Yeah, it used to be the big one. That was where was it the Tampa Shootout? I think used to be
I
there.
think so. I
That was
think
a
so.
big race in the like '90s, early 2000s, and then it's kind of gone by its wayside. So, well, that's kind of all I got for you. What else you got? You got anything? I've kept you for a little over an hour here now.
Well, that's about it, but hopefully, let me ask you this, right? I'm going to put you on the spot. So a lot of seniors graduating for Chisholm Hibbing, okay? Chisholm Hibbing Blue Streaks. Lot of
That's what we call them on the show. You've been listening to the show.
absolutely. So a lot of seniors moving on, right? Well, could you say they're the favorites again in 7A, or are they in trouble? I mean, what's kind of your thought? How was their Bantam
No,
team? I didn't really follow Bantams. Do they have a shot to go back to the state tournament this coming year?
it's going to be tough. They're not. I mean, they're not going to be terrible. I would say Cloak. So Chisholm beats Cloquet in the sections to go, and they were junior dominant. Cloquet was, and they've got that Sewell. He was like, I think, a sophomore and a really tricky player. So I would say probably preseason will probably be Cloquet coming in at number one. Hermantown will always reload. I would say number two, but then Hibbing is right there in number three. Then I was talking with the International Falls coach in at the state tournament, and I mean they lose. They had a couple of Fort Francis boys that did a lot of their scoring. They're gone, but they return Kane Thompson. I think that's Willie Thompson's son. Remember Willie?
Okay.
The
Okay.
B-mod driver. I think that's his son, and all four of their D. So they'll still be competitive, but I would have to give the edge in the section probably to Cloquet. Now again, assuming they don't lose anyone. See that's the X factor, or even Hermantown. I mean, I know that Bo Christie, he's a draft pick of a junior team. I'm assuming he's not going anywhere, but I don't know. He's a big kid. He's a great hockey player. So like I said, you just don't know anymore.
Right. Right.
Even the college
Yeah.
coaches. If I talk to Sandlin and he'll tell you, he said, I don't know who's on my team at UMD at the college level till a week after Labor Day. I don't know
No kidding.
because they can leave. They can leave. You can the transfer point. You just don't know what's going on until that first day of practice.
Boy, that makes things tough right there.
Yeah, yeah. It's
That is
a whole different world than when we grew up. So, but yeah, that's kind of the way I think it'll break down up here. So well, let me put you on the spot. If you had to pick
okay.
a winner of the Tardy Memorial, who do you think?
Hmm.
And are you driving? Are you going to find a ride? Let's get to 300 wins here.
Yeah, well, you never know. You never know. I've had a few people kind of maybe mention something a little bit, but I would need a few practice laps. The last full time, I guess the last year that I actually raced my own car was 2013. 2016, I ran for a guy down in Wisconsin, won a championship down in central Wisconsin in a modified down there. But really only a couple races since. So my pencil is not very sharp. Let's put it that way. Boy, there's going to be some hitters. There's some top tier drivers coming in. Should be 50 plus cars. The record for a series race is 53. So the competitive side is we're going to have more than that. Um, if I had to, so I'll just kind of do it this way. Locally, Tristan Labarge is building a brand new car this year. He's the car he ran last year was bent all year long, so he kind of struggled because the frame wasn't good. So he's building a brand new car. That's just about done. He's going to be tough. Dalton Carlson's been tough as well. As far as coming in from out of town, I mean, there's a guy by the name of Shane Sobraski. This cat has over 1,000 feature wins. I mean, he races 3 cars for this year, Pooka. He got a beam on too.
No way.
He did because there's
Back
some
to a
big.
B-Mod. He's been out of it for 10 years.
Yeah, because there's some big paying shows in the Midwest Mods too. So he got one of them too, right? So somebody that races that much, he's super talented, unlimited budget, very good guy. He is probably one of the heavy favorites to come in. Another kid coming in, big chip on his shoulder. This kid plays hockey up in Ashland, Wisconsin, in the Bantam level. I know Pooka, his kid was playing against him this past year, and he's like, holy shit, there's Steve Stewart. Steve Stewart kind of had a rough deal over at the Red Clay Classic. Very talented, very hungry, very focused. He's the guy that could come in and maybe get something done. And then you mentioned from up in Thunder Bay, of course, Canada, right? The hockey country number 2 because it's USA Hockey's number 1 now. I'm just going to point that out. Yep, we're number 1 now. But Cole Chernosky and Rick Simpson up there, are a couple that can come down. So, man, oh man, there is going to be so many good drivers that I've already talked to, confirmed from a lot of different areas coming in. If I had to pick just one, the easy money would be Shane Sobraski, right? The easy money would be him. But I'm just going to go against the grain on this one. And I'm going to say Joey Jensen from down in the Twin Cities. Joey Jensen, another very talented. He's won in everything he's been in. He actually won the opener at Cedar Lake Speedway in the Super Stocks. May have had to throw a dirty elbow. No call, right? No call on the elbow. No call. And legal butt end of the stick to the leader to take the lead. But I kind of like that, right? I like that chippiness. I like that doing what you got to do to win. So Joey Jensen's going to be my pick. How about you?
All right. Yeah, I agree with you that the low hanging fruit is definitely Sobraski. Boy, I'd like to see some guys get some laps in before I made a pick, but
right.
Yeah, Stewart, I don't know. I mean, yeah, the Thunder Bay boys are tough. I don't know. Dalton, like you said, Dalton. I don't know. Let's go with Labarge. I mean, local guy, like I said, building a new car. Why not? We'll take Tristan. We'll take T-Bone.
Yeah, I sponsor him, so I'd like to see him get her done this year. So I'd like to see him in victory lane. That would be that's who I want to win. Well, I will say this too. Tyler Kittner's racing a super stock this year.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right, so yeah. He's very tight with the Tardy family. He's going to be extra motivated to win this one as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I did run into him at the arena of all places, and he
played hockey too. He played a little hockey.
Yeah, he's a goalie. He's a goalie, so he's nuts. He's nuts.
100 batshit crazy. Absolutely. Them goalies they're all a little scrambled, right? But we love them. We love them. Sometimes they're like kickers in football. We like them when they're doing good.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, when they're hot, they're hot. Exactly. So anyway, catch Ryan Aho for all things racing. The One to Go Show, YouTube, Facebook, on all the podcast platforms. Goat Sports, if you want to catch them on Rumble. Anything else, Ryan, before I sign off and then you can turn us off?
No, that's it. Keep watching both these shows. Pooka, thanks for all you do. Hockey world is better when there's people out there talking about it. And for all you hockey fans out there, when Todd Sky is reffing, you make sure to chirp the shit out of him for us. And if he says anything, just say Aho and Pooka said to get on your case a little bit, and he'll be okay with that.
That's the best. All right. Thanks so much, buddy. And I just want to give a big thank you out to the greatest partners on earth, by Wabick Family and Virginia Family Dental, Aspire Heating and Control, the Ring Sports Bar and Grill, Aero Auto Glass and Door, Fortune Bay Resort and Casino, Zorbas of Grand Rapids, Iron Range Goalie Academy, Grand Rapids Chevrolet GMC, Minnesota hockey camps. It's that time of year, kids. Jump on their website. And you can check out some dates to get to the camps this summer. The Jackson Hole Hockey Club, Iron Range Plumbing and Heating, and Intergirl Hockey Twin Ports. Again, thank you, Ryan. Catch him on the One to Go show. It is Pooka signing it off. Kids, get out there and be your dream. You're tuned to the GOAT Sports Media Audio Network, cleaned by Virginia Family Dental.
All right, fellas, you just can't get the hockey itch out of yourself. The college route isn't for you. Community college route isn't for you. The junior hockey route isn't for you. Well, there's still hockey that you can play. Why don't you check out the Jackson Hole Moose out in Jackson Hole, Wyoming? Take a look at these guys. Full crowds, full hockey, packed houses every night. Get a hold of TJ Thomas on Facebook, and he can get you hooked up with what's going on out there in Jackson Hole.
Integral Hockey Twin Ports offers top-of-the-line junior, intermediate, and senior sticks for sale. Integral also repairs shafts, blades, and goalie sticks using their patented process that restores your stick's original performance. Same flex, same kick point. Shaft and blade repairs come with a lifetime warranty at the repair spot, so you can trust your stick to perform game after game. Give Sand a call, 218-940-9089.
Would you like to hear about Zorba's specials? On Mondays, it's Micro Monday. All taps are just $4. Tuesdays, $3 tacos and $4 Dos Equis. Wednesdays, personal pizzas, $8 and domestic taps, $4. Thursdays, we have deals on nachos and $5 surly taps. We offer trivia on Wednesdays at 6 p.m., bingo on Thursday at 6 p.m., and